She woke up alone. With a child inside her, the air was cold. The ground was wet. She opened her eyes slowly. Trees stood around her like tall shadows. Her skin felt numb. Her arms trembled as she tried to sit up. She didn't know where she was. She didn't even know how she got there. Her name was Azara, the queen of the Nyrix Empire. But now, she was lost, and something was very wrong. Azara touched her stomach. It felt heavy, unfamiliar. A sharp pain ran through her side. She froze. Her eyes widened. There was movement. Inside her, soft, but clear. Her breath caught in her throat. She was pregnant. No, she whispered. Her voice was weak, dry. This can't be. Her kind did not become pregnant without royal bonding. It was sacred, controlled. Only the royal mate could give her a child. But she had no mate. She had no memory of any bond. Her last clear thought was being aboard her ship. There had been light, bright, painful light. Then darkness. Now this. She stood slowly, holding her belly. Her balance was off. Her legs shook under her. The sounds of strange animals echoed. In the distance. This was not her world. It was Earth. Her mind raced. Who brought her here? Why was she pregnant? Her hands glowed faintly with her natural energy, but it was weak, nearly gone. She couldn't defend herself if danger came. She could barely walk. She stumbled forward, moving through thick plants and rough soil. Her long hair was tangled with leaves. Her royal armor was missing. Only a thin layer of strange cloth covered her. It was not hers. Every breath hurt. Every step felt like it might be her last. After hours of walking, she reached the edge of a small cliff. Below, she saw smoke rising in the sky. Maybe it was a village. Maybe help. Maybe danger. But she had no other choice. As she tried to climb down, her foot slipped. Her body hit the ground hard. She cried out, but quickly lost consciousness again. When she woke, the sky was darker. Stars began to appear. She was still alive, but her strength was fading. Her belly moved again. The child inside her was still alive. Still growing. A strange fear began to grow in her heart. Not for herself, but for the baby. What kind of child was inside her? Was it even hers? It didn't feel like one of her own kind. The energy was different. It felt human. Her sharp ears heard footsteps. Slow, careful. Not alien. Not machine. Human. She tried to crawl, to hide, but couldn't. Her body betrayed her. A shadow appeared above her. A human male. He was tall, with dark hair and kind eyes. His hands were open, no weapons. He looked shocked to see her. She didn't speak. She didn't trust him. But she didn't fear him either. You okay? The man asked softly. She didn't answer. He looked at her belly, then back at her face. Are you hurt? He asked again, slower this time. She nodded, just once. He took off his coat and gently covered her with it. She wanted to push it away, but it was warm. Her body relaxed. A little. The man lifted her carefully. She didn't fight him. Her mind was too weak, and her energy nearly gone. As he carried her through the trees, she rested her head on his shoulder. He spoke to her, even though she didn't answer. His voice was calm, patient. He didn't ask too many questions. He didn't seem afraid. He brought her to a small shelter, hidden in the woods. It wasn't much, just wood and metal, but it was warm. He placed her on a bed and checked her forehead. Not a normal fever, he murmured to himself. You're not normal at all, are you? She opened her eyes just enough to stare at him. She didn't understand everything he said, but she felt something else, something rare. He wasn't trying to harm her. He was trying to help. Then, something strange happened. The baby kicked hard. So hard she gasped. The man's eyes widened. You're pregnant? He asked in shock. She nodded again, slower this time. He looked confused. But you don't look human. And that baby, he paused. That's not a normal baby, either. He pulled out a small scanner. Simple human tech. He passed it over her belly. It beeped once, then blinked red. His face changed. Wait, he whispered. This baby isn't even fully yours. Her heart stopped. What do you mean? She said, voice barely above a breath. That he stared at the scanner, then at her. There's human DNA, he said slowly, and alien mixed. But it's not matching your full code. It's like someone forced this inside you. Izara closed her eyes. A tear slid down her cheek. Someone had done this to her. Someone had used her. But why? And more importantly, what did they want with the child inside her? That was the question that now haunted her. And somewhere, deep in the shadows of space. Someone was watching, waiting for her to deliver it. Asterisk, a human stranger offers help. The human's name was Daniel. He lived far from the cities, deep inside a forest where no one came. He liked peace, not people. But the moment he found the strange woman near the river, everything changed. She wasn't just any woman. Her skin had a faint glow, her ears were pointed, and her silver eyes looked like they had seen stars he could only dream of. Daniel wasn't a scientist. He wasn't a soldier. He fixed old machines for nearby farms and minded his own business. But something inside him told him not to walk away this time. She was shaking, weak, and clearly in pain. And when he saw the movement in her stomach, his heart dropped. He brought her back to his cabin with care. She didn't fight, didn't speak much, but her eyes stayed open, watching him, judging him. She was scared, but not broken. Daniel laid her on his old bed and covered her with a blanket. He offered her water, which she sipped slowly. Then he gently spoke, choosing his words like stepping stones. "You're not from around here, are you?" She didn't reply. Her voice was still lost, but her eyes answered. She wasn't from Earth. Daniel didn't panic. He had seen strange things before. Years ago, a meteor had fallen near his workshop. Pieces of metal with symbols, lights that moved, and once, an egg that never hatched. He kept quiet about all of it. People would call him crazy. But now, seeing her here, it all made sense. He walked to his shelf and pulled down an old scanner. He had modified from that meteor crash. It still worked, kind of. Slowly, he moved the device over her belly. It beeped, buzzed, and flashed red. "What the hell?" Daniel muttered. The readings made no sense. Two different DNA patterns. Fused. One of them matched her. The other? Human. That he looked into her tired eyes. "This baby, it isn't fully yours." She blinked slowly. "I know," she whispered. "I didn't choose this." Daniel sat down beside her, unsure what to say. The alien queen closed her eyes for a moment. Then, in a low voice, she added, "They used me. I don't know how." Her voice shook. For someone so strong, so regal, she looked small now, broken. Daniel didn't press for details. Instead, he gave her what she needed: quiet, warmth, and food. Over the next few days, she grew stronger. She told him her name, Izara. She explained little, just enough. She had been a queen, taken from her ship, memories cut into pieces, and now she carried a child that was not hers. Daniel listened without judgment. He didn't understand alien wars or royal codes, but he knew pain. He had lost his brother to war, his mother to sickness, and his faith in people to lies. But for some reason, this glowing alien woman gave him a reason to care again. On the fourth day, something strange happened. Izara stood at the door of the cabin, watching the sky. The sun was bright. Her energy felt different, stronger, but twisted. The baby was growing fast. Too fast. Faster than nature should allow. Her hand rested on her belly, and for a moment, she thought she heard a voice. "Protect me." She turned quickly, but no one was there. Daniel was still fixing a broken solar panel. The voice had come from inside her. Daniel noticed the worry on her face. "Something wrong?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "The baby spoke to me. In my mind." Daniel stood silent. Not because he didn't believe her, but because he knew what that meant. "This child," she said, voice tight. "It is not just mixed. It is aware." Daniel looked around the trees. The forest felt different now, like eyes were watching. He reached into a metal box and pulled out an old pulse pistol, a gift from a traveler long ago. He handed it to her. "I think someone's going to come looking," he said. She took the weapon without hesitation. Her eyes narrowed, scanning the trees. "I don't know what they want," Daniel added, "but I know this. You won't face them alone." Izara looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time. This simple human, with calloused hands and a soft heart, stood beside her not for power or reward, but because he chose to. For a queen who had been used, stolen from, and discarded, that meant more than any throne. She nodded once. "Then we protect this child together." Neither of them knew what was coming, but somewhere far above Earth, something had already locked on to her signal, and it was heading straight for them. Asterisk, the hidden lab under Earth. The nightmares began the next night. Izara sat up in bed, her body cold with sweat. She had seen flashes, metal walls, glowing tubes, sharp needles. Voices she couldn't fully remember whispered in her ears. One word kept returning again and again in her mind. Hybrid. The child inside her moved again, but this time, it wasn't a simple kick. It felt like a signal, a pulse, like it was trying to connect with something or someone. Daniel noticed the change. "You're shaking," he said, handing her a warm drink. "I saw things," Izara said quietly. "Machines, humans, aliens. They were doing something to me." Daniel nodded slowly. "Memories." She touched her temple. "Pieces." Daniel stood up, reached for a dusty case under the floorboard, and pulled out a strange device. A small cube made of alien metal with green veins that pulsed slowly. "This fell from the sky 5 years ago," he said. "I never showed it to anyone. I didn't know what it was until now." Izara took the cube in her hands. The moment her fingers touched it, the veins turned bright gold. Her mind filled with noise. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. Then, images flashed before her eyes. A secret base, hidden deep under Earth's surface. Scientists in white coats. Soldiers with no names. And her, floating in a pod, wires in her body. Monitors tracked her vital signs. They were mixing her royal DNA with human samples. The goal? Create a child that could survive both worlds. She dropped the cube. It hit the floor with a loud thud. "They did it here," she said, her voice almost breaking. "On this planet. Beneath our feet." Daniel looked shocked. "There's a lab underground." "Yes," she whispered. "And the baby inside me. It was made there." Daniel didn't ask more questions. He didn't need to. He just grabbed his bag and flashlight. "Then we find it." The next day, they followed the clues from Izara's vision. She remembered the shape of a mountain, the sound of water, the hum of machines underground. After traveling for hours, they reached an old military zone. The sign said danger and no entry. But the area was quiet, abandoned, forgotten. Daniel found a hidden hatch near a dry riverbed. It was covered in vines and dirt. But the moment Izara stepped near it, the metal surface lit up, sensing her DNA. The hatch opened with a hiss. Cold air rushed out. They went down slowly. The air was thick with dust. Lights flickered above them. The hallways smelled like chemicals and old blood. Machines stood silent, but not broken. Everything felt paused, like the lab was sleeping. They walked past old cryopods, many broken, some still filled with dark liquid. Izara's heart raced. Then she saw it. Her own pod, shattered, wires still hanging from the sides. "This is where they kept me," she said. "This is where they put the child in me." Daniel's fists clenched. He hated the people who had done this to her. Not just because it was cruel, but because she trusted no one, not even herself now. Suddenly, a monitor came to life. A woman's face appeared on the screen. Pale skin, black hair tied tightly back. "Subject Y13 detected," the voice said. "Welcome back, Queen Izara." Izara stepped back in shock. "Who are you?" "I am Dr. Kalen. The child you carry is ours. Please return to the birthing station immediately." Daniel pulled out his weapon. "Not happening. The hybrid was made with care," the voice continued. "Its purpose is greater than you both. Give it up now, or the retrieval unit will be dispatched." The screen went black. Daniel looked at Izara. "We have to leave." But Izara didn't move. Her hand was on her belly. The baby was glowing. Not just kicking, glowing. A soft blue light came from under her skin. "The child knows we're here," she said softly. "It feels it." Suddenly, a door opened by itself. A path lit up ahead. The lab was responding. To the baby, they followed the light into a central chamber. At the center stood a sealed glass pod. Inside was a second fetus, half-grown, but empty. "Failed. Dead." "They tried more than once," Izara whispered. "They only succeeded with you," Daniel said, looking at her with worry. Suddenly, loud footsteps echoed through the chamber. Metal doors slammed. Lights went red. "Unauthorized presence detected," a robotic voice said. "Begin lockdown." Daniel grabbed her hand. "We're not staying here." As they ran, alarms blared. Izara looked over her shoulder one last time. She saw a wall of names, codes and numbers. Subjects. Experiments. She saw her own name. She knew now. She had been nothing more than a vessel to them. A tool, but this child, her child, was no tool. It was alive, aware, and growing stronger every day. They escaped through a side exit as the entire base began to shut down. The sky outside was dark again. But something had changed. The child was not afraid. And neither was she anymore. Asterisk the queens. Memories returned. The sky was gray. Clouds moved fast above the trees. Izara sat near the fire Daniel had made, her eyes fixed on the flames. But her mind was far away, drifting into the dark places she had long feared. The lab had opened something inside her, and now, the memories were coming back. They didn't come gently. They came like waves crashing through her skull, sharp, hot, and painful. She remembered the pod, the pain in her body, cold metal wrapped around her limbs, tubes in her arms. Strange. Sounds she didn't understand. Lights flashing red and green. Voices speaking fast. Hands touching her skin, not with care, but with purpose. She remembered a woman's voice, cold, firm, without kindness. Begin fusion sequence. Queen DNA. Confirmed. Injecting human seed sample 04C. Izara gripped her head. The fire crackled, but she didn't hear it. She heard screams. Her own. She had screamed, cried, fought. But no one listened. They just watched the machines do their job. Daniel returned with wood and saw her shaking. Another memory? He asked. Gently. She nodded that he sat beside her, close but careful. What did you see this time? Izara took a long breath. They didn't just take me. They planned it. Everything. The lab. The pregnancy. Even the DNA they chose. They wanted a perfect mix of their strength and mine. Daniel's hands tightened into fists, like they were baking a weapon. No, she said, her voice distant. Not a weapon. Something worse. A symbol. Daniel looked confused. Izara continued. A child born of two powerful races. Not to destroy, but to rule. A false peace. A forced unity. They want to show the galaxy that humans and Nyrix can become one. Not through love or truth, but control. Daniel stood. He couldn't sit still anymore. So they used you to build a lie. Izara nodded slowly. Yes, a beautiful lie. One the galaxy would believe. She looked at her stomach. The child moved again, gently now. The glow was softer than before. For a moment, Izara wondered, could a child made from lies still grow into something good? Her memories continued to return through the night. She saw a long table. Human leaders. Alien scientists. They watched her in silence through glass. She was a royal, but they called her Subject Y-13. They never said her name. Never looked into her eyes. She was just a carrier to them. One memory made her blood run cold. They had tried to wipe her mind completely. But something had gone wrong. The human DNA inside her had reacted with her own, blocking the full memory wipe. A spark of resistance had stayed. That spark had helped her escape, or maybe someone had let her escape. She remembered a shadow. A man. One of the lab workers. He had whispered in her ear before she lost consciousness again. Run when you wake up. The child must live, not serve. Daniel noticed she had gone quiet. What is it? He asked. She looked at him. Someone in that lab helped me escape. I don't know who, but they knew what they were doing was wrong. Daniel sat back down. That means not all of them are monsters. No, she said, but most of them are. And they'll come for us soon. Daniel nodded. Then we'll be ready. Suddenly, a noise came from the trees. A soft hum. Not birds. Not wind. A drone. Izara stood quickly. Her hand glowed. Her energy had returned, stronger now. The child inside her was sharing power with her. She could feel it. Not just growing, but learning. The drone flew overhead, scanning. Izara raised her hand. A bolt of light shot up and struck the machine. It exploded in the air. They found us, she said. That was just the first. Daniel checked his weapons. Let them come. But Izara wasn't smiling. She looked at the stars now, her voice low. I was a queen, Daniel. But I was raised for war, not motherhood. This child, this life inside me. I don't know how to protect it the right way. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. You already are. Izara's lips parted, just slightly. The first sign of emotion, warmth, touched her face. Not a smile, but something close. I don't want this child to be a tool, she said. Or a weapon. I want it to be free. Then we'll make sure of that. Daniel said that in the distance, shadows moved between the trees. Silent figures in armor. The retrieval squad was already here, but Izara stood tall. Her memories had returned, and now, so had her fire. They come to take the baby. The first sign wasn't sound. It was the stillness. The forest turned quiet. Too quiet. Even the wind stopped moving. Birds that usually chirped at sunrise had vanished. The animals were gone. It felt like the trees themselves were holding their breath. Izara stood at the cabin door, her sharp eyes watching the edges of the trees. Her hand rested on her stomach. The baby was tense, completely still. Then, it began. A soft hum. Faint vibrations in the ground. A strange scent in the air, metal and electricity. Izara stepped outside. Daniel followed her, pulse gun ready. "What do you feel?" he asked. "They're close," she said. "They've been following since the lab." Just as she spoke, a beam of light shot down from the sky, silent, smooth, and white as ice. A ship appeared, not huge, but fast. Sleek, clean, built for speed, not war. But Izara knew better. It wasn't carrying peace. Daniel raised his gun. "Is that yours?" She shook her head. "It's theirs." The ship didn't fire. It simply hovered above, waiting. Then a loud voice echoed through the air, calm and cold. "Queen Izara, step forward. Surrender the hybrid child. No harm will come to you." Izara didn't move. Her body was calm, but her heart raced. She knew this voice. Dr. Kalen, the woman from the lab. "Still in control," Daniel growled. "What now?" "They want me alive," Izara said. "But only to complete the project. They don't need you." "Hey." Second voice joined the first, robotic, male. "You have 60 seconds to comply. After that, extraction begins." Izara stepped forward. Daniel grabbed her arm. "You're not going out there." She looked at him, her eyes burning gold now. "I'm not surrendering. I'm buying time." Before Daniel could argue, the trees to the left exploded. Not with fire, but with force. Soldiers in black armor rushed out, fast, silent, and inhuman. Their eyes glowed red through their helmets. Not human, not alien. Biomachines, the lead one pointed. At Izara. "Target confirmed. Secure the vessel." Daniel fired first. His shot hit one square in the chest, sending sparks flying. But the others didn't stop. They moved like shadows, quick and perfect. Izara raised her arms. Light surged from her palms and blasted 3 of them back into the trees. The baby inside her glowed with her. They were fighting together now, but more kept coming. Daniel ducked behind a fallen log, firing again and again. "Too many," he shouted. Izara stood her ground, refusing to fall back. "They want the child alive. They won't risk harming me." But she was wrong. One of the machines pointed a new weapon, not at her, but at Daniel. Time slowed. A blast fired. Daniel didn't dodge. He couldn't. He braced himself, ready to die, but the beam never hit. Izara leapt in front of him, shielding him with her body. The beam struck her shoulder. She screamed, not from pain, but from fury. Her eyes turned white hot. Her energy exploded. A wave of pure power shot out from her, knocking every enemy to the ground. Their armor cracked. Their lights went dark. Silence. Daniel looked at her. Her arm burned, shaking, but still strong. "You saved me," he whispered. She smiled, just barely. "You're needed." Then they heard it. The child spoke, not out loud, but into their minds. A clear thought. "They want to use me, but I choose you." Daniel fell to his knees. "Did you hear that?" he asked, stunned. Izara nodded. "The child is aware, and it trusts us." Suddenly, the ship above powered up again. It had seen enough. The mission was a failure. "Initiate final protocol," the voice said. "Destroy the site. Leave no trace." Daniel grabbed Izara's hand. "Run." But she shook her head. "No. This ends now." She raised both hands. All her pain, her anger, her memories, she poured them into her power. The child inside her joined her again. Together, they launched a beam of raw energy into the sky. The ship cracked. Then it exploded. Flames lit the sky. Debris rained down like stars. The forest shook, then fell silent again. Izara dropped to one knee, breath heavy. Daniel caught her just in time. "You did it," he said softly. "No," she said, her voice weak but firm. "We did it." The danger was not over. Others would come. But for now, they were safe. And for the first time, Izara didn't feel like just a queen, or a weapon, or a victim. She felt like a mother. And that changed everything. The truth about the baby. The fire from the ship still burned in the distance, sending smoke into the sky. The forest was quiet again, but it was a different kind of quiet now. Heavy. Waiting. Izara sat with her back against a tree, holding her injured arm. Her body ached, but her mind was louder than ever. She could hear the baby. Not crying. Not moving. Speaking. Not in words, but in thoughts. Clear and strange. They built me to lead. But I will choose who I become. Daniel sat nearby, fixing a small transmitter. He had picked it up from one of the broken soldiers. It was still active, and it was sending a signal. To who? He muttered. To the others, Izara said. They'll come. Maybe not today, but soon. Daniel looked over at her. So what now? Izara looked up at the sky, then at her belly. Now we learn the truth. That night, as the moon rose, Izara entered a deep trance. Her kind could connect with the child during pregnancy, but only royals had this power. And this time, the connection was full. She didn't see colors or hear sounds. She stood in a white space, glowing, calm. Before her, a child-shaped light floated. No face, just energy. She stepped forward. Who are you? She asked. The light pulsed. I am what they made, but I am more than they planned. You're growing fast, she said. Too fast. I have to. I do not have time to be small. Why did they make you? The answer came like thunder, but it didn't hurt. To be king of peace. But peace by control. Izara frowned. They wanted you to rule. Yes. Not by love. By fear. They would show me to the galaxy and say, see, we are united. But it would be a lie. I would be their proof. Their pet. Their message. And what do you want to be? She asked. The light flickered. Then it pulsed again, brighter this time. Free. Izara felt tears in her eyes, even in the vision. You were made without choice. But you still want to choose. Yes. You chose to protect me. I choose to be yours. And then, the vision ended. She woke in the middle of the night. Daniel was sleeping, his coat wrapped around him. The fire had died down to a warm glow. She sat up straight, heart pounding. The child was more than she had feared, and far more than she had hoped. When Daniel woke up, she told him everything. The child was designed to be a symbol, she said. Something both human and alien rulers could use. A living banner to wave across the stars. Daniel looked angry. That's disgusting. It is, she said. But he, yes, it's a he, doesn't want to be that. He wants to choose his own path. He wants to be free. Daniel stood slowly. So what do? We keep him safe, she said. We don't give him to any side. Not humans. Not my people. Not the ones who made him. Daniel looked away for a moment, then back at her. That'll make us enemies to everyone. Izara's eyes narrowed. Then let them come. They spent the next days preparing. They moved deeper into the forest, to a place Daniel had once hidden after escaping soldiers years ago. A place not on maps. A place where satellites didn't reach. While they worked, the baby kept speaking in her thoughts, small things. I like his voice. You are warm. Do stars hurt? And sometimes, deeper thoughts. Why did they not want me to be happy? Izara didn't always have answers. But she promised him one thing. He would never be alone again. Daniel built new defenses, small barriers, traps, shields made from broken tech. He wasn't a warrior, but he was clever. And Izara trained her body every day, even while carrying the child. Her energy was growing stronger. She no longer feared what she was carrying. She loved it. Even if it wasn't made from love, it could. Still live in it. One night, as stars filled the sky, Daniel sat beside her. They didn't speak for a long time. The air was cool, safe. Then he said, do you think he'll ever be able to live a normal life? Izara looked up. No, she said softly. Not normal, but maybe something better. Daniel turned to her. And you? What happens to you after all this? She looked down at her belly. I was born a queen. I thought that made me strong. But now I carry something far more powerful than any throne. I carry choice. The baby kicked softly, and Izara smiled. I will raise him, even if the whole galaxy turns against us. Daniel smiled too, but only for a second, because above them, high in the night sky, a second signal had just been sent. And this time, someone answered. Asterisk a queen's choice, and a human's promise. The stars were falling to at least that's how. It looked from the forest floor, bright flashes in the sky, one after another. But Izara knew better. Those were not stars. They were ships. Fast, silent, deadly, and they were coming for her child. She stood at the cliff's edge, her long hair blowing in the cold wind, one hand on her stomach. The child was quiet now, not speaking, not kicking, just waiting. Inside, he knew something important was about to happen. Daniel stood behind her, checking the last of the defense traps. 3 ships, he said, coming fast. No calls, no warnings. Izara didn't turn. Her voice was calm. They're not coming to talk. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. Then let's not wait. They returned to the small cave. Deep in the forest, hidden, protected, warm. Izara sat down slowly, her breathing heavier now. The child was coming. Not soon. Now. Daniel saw the pain on her face. You're in labor. She nodded once. He wants to be born before they get here. Outside, the sound of engines roared low across the treetops. Daniel knelt beside her. He didn't know how to help deliver an alien baby. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't ready, but Izara gripped his hand. Just stay, she whispered. That's enough. The forest shook as the ships landed. Metal claws dug into the earth. Soldiers marched out, more than before. These weren't test units. These were execution squads. Their orders were clear: retrieve the child. Eliminate everything else. Inside the cave, time slowed. Izara closed her eyes. The pain was sharp. Her, breathing deep. The child's energy mixed with hers. Calm, steady, focused. Daniel stood at the entrance, holding his weapon. He looked small in front of what was coming, but he didn't step back. Not this time. Then a sound, not a cry, not a scream, but a soft, glowing hum. The baby had been born. Izara opened her eyes, tears falling freely. She held the child to her chest, small, warm, glowing softly with golden light. His eyes opened for the first time. Not confused, not afraid, aware. Outside, the soldiers reached the entrance. Daniel stepped forward. You're not taking them. The lead soldier spoke with a voice like metal. Step aside. Daniel's hand tightened on the trigger. No, before anything else could happen, the baby's light began to spread. It filled the cave, then poured out of it. The soldiers froze. Their armor flickered. Weapons shut down. The light touched their minds, softly, but deeply. It wasn't an attack. It was understanding. They dropped their weapons one by one. The lead soldier fell to his knees. What is this? He gasped. Izara stood, weak but proud, the baby in her arms. This is what you tried to control. But you failed. He is not your weapon. He is not your project. He is my son. She stepped into the light, the child glowing brighter with every breath. Tell your masters, she said, that peace cannot be built by force. It must be chosen. The soldiers backed away, confused, changed. The ships lifted off without a fight. Daniel stood beside her, watching the baby glow in her arms. He stopped a war without saying a word. Izara looked at Daniel. Because he was born from pain, but raised with love. They walked back into the trees together. No more running. No more hiding. The child was safe. For now. But the galaxy would remember this day. A queen who gave up her throne. A human who gave up his fear. And a child who gave the stars a second chance. As night returned and peace settled over the forest, Daniel looked at the small boy resting in Izara's arms. What will you name him? Izara smiled. He already chose. She looked down at the baby and whispered, your name is Hope. Daniel smiled softly. A good name. He'll need it. Izara turned to him, her voice firm but warm. So will we. Then, without a throne, without a kingdom, without a single soldier behind her, the queen stepped into the world as something more powerful than royalty, a mother, and beside her stood a man who never asked for a crown, but gave his promise. Anyway, as long as I breathe, no one will take him from you. And that was how the story of a stolen child ended, not with war, but with a promise stronger than any weapon in the stars.